fermented beverages. That is kombucha. Firstly, my name is Hadiba binti Kasim. Metric number is 176110.
My name is Fariza Nabila binti Fuzi and my metric number is 175686.
My name is Surah Amira binti Khairuddin. Metric number 175190.
My name is Shivashi Krishan. My metric number is 175449. And we'll be talking about different stuff. I'll be talking about the changes in components during the production.
And I will talk about the food, the production method.
I will talk about nutrient content of kombucha.
And I will talk about the type of material that we will use in making kombucha.
So that's all.
The production method of kombucha. Kombucha is produced by fermenting tea using a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast. You may use black tea, green tea, white tea, and other styles of tea. The yeast used include Saccharomyces, a probiotic fungus, and other species, and the bacterial components always include Glucanobacter xylinus. To oxidize yeast produce alcohol, to acetic and other acids. To sweeten the tea, you can add some sugar.
I will present about the types of food materials for kombucha. So in order to make kombucha, we need 4 materials, which is water, tea, sugar, and a kombucha starter culture, SCOBY. So for the water, it is good to use filtered water because kombucha cultures best when the water used is as free from contaminants as possible. For tea, organic tea is used to avoid chemical contaminants. Usually to make kombucha, the best tea is black tea because it is full oxidized tea and provide all the nutrients for the SCOBY. Next is sugar. Sugar is required for the fermentation process and cannot be bypassed or substituted. Lastly is the SCOBY. SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. This means that colonies of yeast and bacteria cohabited together for their mutual benefit. The purpose of the bacteria and yeast colonies are to metabolize the sugar and the caffeine found in the tea into byproducts. So that's all from me. Thank you.
As we all know, kombucha tea is a sweet-sour, fermented, acidic, and slightly carbonated beverage, which has been described as either a wine that tastes like a delicious tea or an unusual tea that tastes like a rare wine. There are claims that kombucha tea is a fountain of youth elixir, used in China for thousands of years. It is believed to be an ancient tonic created by growing a so-called Manchurian mushroom on sweetened tea. The kombucha culture is a collection of yeast and bacteria encased in cellulose. It is generally shaped like a large pancake and is slippery and flexible when touched. Kombucha is a living, growing organism and is actually quite similar to culture that activate yogurt and transform cabbage into sauerkraut. So now I'm going to talk about the main components in the final brew of kombucha. First, it is ethanol. The level is about 0.5% and by comparison, regular beer generally has about 5%. Ethanol and acetic acid have been reported to have antimicrobial activity against pathogenic bacteria, which can provide protection against kombucha brew contamination. However, the alcohol content in raw kombucha brew can increase after bottling. Sometimes it can reach levels of 2 to 5%. Carbon dioxide or carbonic acid. This will carbonate kombucha brew, making it fizzy. Sugar. Added to feed yeast and bacteria, and some vitamins may be left behind when yeast break down sugars, mainly vitamin B and C. Acetic acid. This stuff is regarded as healthy, but if left sitting too long, it can react with alcohol and form acetates. Those shouldn't be consumed. If your kombucha ever smells like acetone, you don't want to drink it. Acetic acid is also found in vinegar. Lactic acid. This is a byproduct of the fermentation process, but beware because it might have a laxative effect. Gluconic acid acts as a preservative and is thought to function in the liver as a detoxification agent. Cellulose. If you ever see little particles in kombucha brew, it is likely bits of cellulose.
The changes in food components during processing. Kombucha contains carbohydrate, organic acids, vitamins, and mineral components. The composition and concentration of the substances present in kombucha beverage depend on the origin of tea mushroom, amount of sucrose, and the duration of fermentation process. What is in a fermentation is not universal except for gluconic acid, fructose, sucrose, and acetic acid. Sucrose is metabolized into organic acid by bacteria and yeast, which increases the acidity of the beverage. This will cause the pH level to decrease accordingly to increase the total organic acid content during fermentation. Acetic acid bacteria is the most popular microorganism found in kombucha. Through the process of yeast fermentation, sucrose is transformed into glucose and fructose. Acetic acid stimulates production of ethanol, in which in turn may facilitate the growth of acetic acid bacteria and also cause the production of acetic acid. Acetic acid bacteria initially oxidizes ethanol into acetic aldehyde and then into acetic acid. This bacteria also activates glucose oxidation into gluconic acid. But for the caffeine, what actually happens to the actual caffeine during fermentation cycle is another debate. Many claim that the caffeine as well as the sugar are eliminated during the process, but some researchers found reduction in caffeine, but some did not. However, they all concluded that it all depends on the brewer. The presence of caffeine in tea does not produce any unhealthy results due to its combination with tea polyphenols. The latter product of the biotransformation occurs in form of slightly carbonated and consumable broth, which actually have a specific sweet and sour taste.
Created using Powtoon.